The 10 years of working in the investment banking industry at Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley and HSBC, in this video I'm going to explain to you why you shouldn't be focused on working hard. So here we see the virgin hard worker, right? So let's zoom in here. Now the virgin hard worker is a position I've been in, right? And many of you have probably been in. You're going to work hard and then you're going to succeed. It doesn't really pay off, right? So let's go through this. Now, if you have a hard worker who's kind of naive about how office politics work, he thinks he'll get promotion if the boss notices how hard he's working. The boss doesn't care how hard you're working. In many cases, as long as you do an average job or slightly above average job, that's all they're looking for, right? It's really about who's playing the office politics and understands the social dynamics. The social dynamics at work completely overpower and are much more highly valued than anyone who's a highly skilled technical guy, right? Unless you're doing a coding job where you can be super skilled in coding and earn a high salary. Most other jobs, risk management jobs, sales, trading, investment banking, asset management, any type of finance job is really based on office politics more than the quality of the work you're doing. So we're going to go through this in a bit more detail here, right? So this guy, he thinks he'll get a promotion if the boss notices how hard he's working. That's not how it works. Promotion's based on largely who you're sucking up to and if the managers see you as one of their favorites. I recommend you don't lie on your resume, right? You got to be honest because there could be background checks. And in the UK compared to the US, from what I understand, is that US does very light level background checks, but in the UK there can be very strict background checks. Now, what you should know is that most of these background checks will check your job title at the previous company on your resume, on your CV, and they'll check the months or the years that you worked there, your start date and your end date. They're not going to check every little thing you did at that job, right? So if you kind of glorify, like, rather than saying you did a small part of a crypto project, you say you've done a large part of a crypto project, say if you're in finance, instead of saying you were doing the training element of a financial task, you were doing the training element and the budgeting element and the analytical element. If you glorify a little of what you say in your CV, you're not going to be held responsible for that. No one's really going to double check what project you did 2 years ago at your previous employer. So in those cases, lying on your resume is not really that much of an issue. And this guy who didn't lie on his resume, is 100% honest, is probably, people are going to look at him like he's done less work than people who are lying on their resume and now glorifying what they've done. So, being a bit creative on your resume, maybe not lying, could be an option you should consider. Now here we got right below the table, lunch break never goes lower than 60 minutes, never goes longer than 60 minutes. In the corporate environment, there is so much time, right? There are time wasting meetings. People pretending to work at their desk while they're on websites reading the news, pretending they're reading the finance news when they're not, scrolling through their phone at the desk, chit-chatting with co-workers, talking about completely unrelated topics, their relationship drama, what they're doing on the weekend, complaining about their boyfriends and their husbands, as I've seen many female colleagues do, finding something to whinge about, Donald Trump or whatever they seem to hate and blame all their life problems on, right? So if there's that much time wasting and you want to take a slightly longer lunch break, I don't think you should mind about it. What you got to do is be effective on how you do that. So if you're tapping in and tapping out of work with your security card, they're going to track that. And if you're out for like over an hour, that's not going to look good. Particularly if you work in finance, they expect you to eat your lunch at the desk when you kind of don't need to because so much time is wasted. But you rather work efficiently and have a long lunch break, but you can't do that. So what people do, they have to kind of be effective on how they use their time and steal the time. Maybe you have a half an hour lunch break, but then another half an hour you waste chit-chatting with your co-worker, drinking a coffee, pretending to do work at the desk. So, being a hard worker and having short lunch breaks, it doesn't really pay off because other people are wasting their time and making a lot more money than you. Graduated from college and now has to work to repay his debt. So, like I say, in this backwards clown world, Western civilization, the people who do the right thing and work hard and try to succeed on that basis, they are negatively treated, right? If you're a criminal, you're treated like a hero. If you're a promiscuous woman, you're treated like a hero. If you're a woman, a career, hashtag career girl, hashtag girl power, hashtag girl boss type, you're treated like a hero, right? But if you went to college, you studied hard, you're a hardworking, honest man, you're treated like trash, to be honest, right? So working hard to repay your debt, if you studied a highly qualified skill, whether it's finance or tech or whatever, You'd think the government, with all the money the government wastes on foreign wars, the money the government wastes on whichever victim group there is now, there's 1,000,001. You think they'd provide free education, but they don't do that. I mean, Gaddafi, Muammar Gaddafi, super crazy evil dictator, right? He was providing free education for his people up to university level. So, I mean, who's really the evil system here, right? And then is grateful to be working, listens to podcasts that will help make him a more productive and effective worker. Listening to podcasts to make you a more productive worker, and I mentioned this briefly in another video, right? So if you're like this super hardworking guy, you're always trying to be the best worker possible, this does not pay off. I'm telling you as someone who worked in the finance industry for over 10 years, HSBC, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, you have to be strategic, right? People who are working hard are not making the most money. People who work hard are overlooked because they're not sucking up to the right people, right? If you want to listen to a podcast that makes you a more productive worker, makes you more effective at being effective in business, do that for your side business. Learn those skills about time management, project management, communication, sales, marketing, to benefit you in your personal business, in your side business, your side hustle. Or if not, listen to something about, health or nutrition. If that's your focus right now in life, or in saving, investing, that's going to help you focus on listening things that help you, not the company you work for, right? They don't care about you. You're just a number in an Excel file. You're a statistic, They'll just get rid of you tomorrow if there's some need for job cuts because you're not sucking up to management enough. Tries to hide whenever he's on YouTube, even when it's for work. Now, YouTube's a good resource like podcasts. Try to listen to those interesting YouTube videos if you want on your personal device while you're at work. Hopes to have a career in business administration or data entry. Now, no one wants to say this, but the majority of a lot of corporate roles, even the supposedly high-paying roles, some of it is technical analysis. Some of it is complex, but a lot of it is not. A lot of it is sending emails, managing like basic PowerPoint presentations, putting information in different files, organizing it in an efficient way, basically documents, managing emails, managing deadlines. So as you see on your screen right now, having a career in business admin or data entry, a lot of work is business admin or data entry, so it's glorified in many different ways, but a lot of it, that's what it is. Tries to be friends with a cute receptionist. Now, when I started my career in finance, I worked at an internship at a company I won't mention now, but they're a financial data company, and we had an internship, and there were about 20 interns or more, and one of the guys who worked in sales, and if you work in sales, your job is to be social, to be talkative, to be friendly with others, and he was friendly with the receptionist. And the receptionist took it the wrong way. He said he was trying to flirt with her. I didn't hear what was said, so maybe it was inappropriate. I don't know. But he was kicked off the internship. Now, they could have dealt with it with an apology, with a simple, effective way of dealing with that, and just saying, maybe you said the wrong thing. Maybe she interpreted the wrong way. Maybe we can just apologize and overlook this and move forward. But they had to kind of ruin this guy's opportunity over the summer to do this summer internship, which could have led to a full-time sales job and other corporate work. But they treated him, again, the way men are treated in the office, with suspicion, like they're a threat. Women are 10 times better than men. So I would say, if you're trying to be friends with a cute receptionist, don't. Just go to work, mind your business, get the work done, and go home. Now, this is really what you should aspire to be. You should aspire to be a Chad time thief. Now, a Chad time thief, what does he do, right? He values his time. He doesn't value the company's time. Firstly, he doesn't snitch on others who are wasting time. And the truth is, I've worked at these top banks. I've seen many instances where people spend half the day reading the news on their work PC, right? Spend half the day on their phone pretending to work on a presentation, gossiping, going for work meetings where they're just chit-chatting with colleagues while they're getting paid high six-figure salaries, spending time just goofing off, doing whatever time-wasting nonsense they want to do, just wasting their time in the office rather than making a smart decision to maybe work remotely and spend half their day building their side business rather than chit-chatting in the office all day. But I'll leave it at that. So I worked in many cases, people wasting time all day long, wasting the entire Friday. Because Friday, many people, they don't consider it a work day, even though they're meant to be working, right? So my whole thing is, you could either point out people are not working or realize they're not really doing much work. you should really lower the speed at which you're working to the same level they are, so they have enough time to gossip and chit chat, work at an easy pace, and go to the gym in the middle of the day, arrive a little, maybe 15 minutes late, leave a bit early. Understand the dynamics, the social dynamics of the workplace you're at, and rather than be like, oh, why they're not working hard, just be like, okay, if they're being a bit lax here, I can be a bit lax too, right? Try and sense the dynamics around you. Makes memes on company time. I actually was working for one major bank, which I won't name, and yeah, there was one employee, he's always chit-chatting on the group chat with one of his friends in another department, making memes, sending memes. And I'm saying your work activities probably is tracked, your work PC and what website you're on is tracked, so be careful around that. But you know, like I say, wasting time, making jokes is, because the office workplace is kind of daycare for grown adults now, a lot of the time is wasted, and you shouldn't feel guilty about it, because you only got one life to live and you are dedicating the majority of your time right now to a day job. Takes time out of his busy schedule to enjoy some funny videos. Now, lots of people spend time on their phone, right, in the office, even if they pretend they're not. Some people, some men or simps, however you want to call them, they spend a lot of their free time dealing with their girlfriend drama on their phone, some pointless passive-aggressive communication she's having with them, some plea for attention she's doing, some kind of nonsense. They're spending time, I've heard things like this, where men are having phone calls with their wives, creating some drama about their kids and their education or whatever, some kind of unnecessary drama. Now, when I'm on my phone at work, I'm not really getting into long, heated discussions with any woman or any person I know outside of work. I'm just scrolling through my Twitter, or I'm scrolling through Telegram or other things, just for funny social commentary. And I recommend you do the same. People are wasting time. I worked at a major investment bank, and the co-worker next to me, the female co-worker next to me, she would spend several hours throughout the day on phone calls, not work calls, talking with her husband about her kids. Sometimes her kids will be having conversations with her, like college-age kids, teenage kids, on their phone. Maybe they're at home or they're at work, they're at school. So people are wasting time on their phone throughout the day, and these people are making very high six-figure salaries, and you're like, oh cool, they just respond to a couple emails throughout the day, chit chat and suck up to the right people, and then it's like everyone else ignores the time they're wasting. And that's very common in the corporate environment. Now, other things here is always taking the 2 paid breaks. So if you've got paid breaks, you've got a paid lunch, take the break. Even if you're going to waste the time, even if you've got no reason to take the break, there's no need for you to pretend to work hard, right, when you don't need to. You can go and spend your time even staring at a brick wall. I would, if you're working in a corporate environment, typically not too far from you, there are maybe some scenic places. It could be a park, it could be a river, it could be just a nice coffee shop, things like that. Anywhere you can get a break from that corporate environment, I recommend you do that. Next thing, spending an hour messing with the chair height settings. I'm someone who would always adjust their their chair settings throughout the day. Sometimes you want to lean back, lean forward, lean to one side or the other, lean on one of the armchairs, the chair arms on the left, on the right side, move around, have a standing desk, move the desk up and down, waste time, make the most of your life stuck in that office with the fluorescent lighting and the constant supervision like you're a little child and they have to watch what you're doing every day. If you have a job, you don't really care, just have fun with it, be a bit of yourself, because you gotta be yourself. I mean, you're getting paid to work, not paid to like be some cookie cutter corporate robot. Said he has a master's in computer science on his resume. Never written a line of code. Now, this is the cases where you've got to be careful what you are saying in your CV. I don't suggest you outright lie on your CV. If you're a bit creative and you exaggerate a bit of what you've done because you've seen a coworker do it or a manager do it, that's okay. I would say a little bit of creativity is okay. But if you're lying on your resume, completely not a good thing, because they're going to ask you maybe in the first few months, can you write this line of code? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then you might not know how to do it. So then it's an issue, right? And also, I've dealt with really toxic managers who interviewed me for the job, along with other people interviewing me, maybe 10 interviews for one job. I start working there. I'm just getting up to speed with how the system works, doing the basic training. Just you start a job, the first few weeks are a bit slow. You're kind of picking up the pace until you get on with things. And you start a job, and then the manager's like, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do 5 really complicated things? give you a new system to use, no systems training, and they ignore you when you ask a question deliberately because they want to see, oh, can you figure it out yourself? And it's like, I mean, can we just have 5 minutes to explain how this system works so I can get on with the work, rather than playing a passive aggressive game to test me? In this case, it wasn't coding like we just went through, but you know, you might be asked like, okay, can you do this? Can you do these 5 new things that you've never done before in your life? But I thought you've done them, and based on your CV and based on what you previously did. No, I worked as part of a team to kind of do some very structured approach to some analysis. Oh, just do all the analysis now. Well, can we have some structure? No. Just get on with it. People play these type of games, particularly if they want to get rid of you, even if they just hired you, even if they want to put you down because they don't want to see other people to see you as competition for their job. These are the type of complete psychopaths you deal with in the finance industry or a lot of corporate environments, right? So be careful what you put on your CV if someone tries to use that against you later and try to show you up and try and make you look stupid in front of others. Whole behavior, for lack of a better word. Three or four behavior from liberal men in the corporate environment, you know. Clocks in for lunch hour. Says he's still on lunch. Yeah, so this is a funny one. It's basically saying when you're on your lunch break, you're on your lunch break. So if someone tries to give you work or tries to communicate work while you're at your desk eating your lunch in that rushed half an hour or 1 hour you have or whatever, say, I'll come back to you in 15, 20 minutes. Don't let people put pressure on you to do this, to do that. Live your life at your own pace as much as you can in the corporate environment. Like I said, the company doesn't care about your health, your wealth, nothing. You're just a little cog in a machine, so make sure you look out for your best interest and don't let people walk all over you, especially in that like brief 15, 20, 30 minutes in a day where you can live your life. Realizes his job is pointless and does the minimum not to get fired. This is probably the most important thing, and this is the hardest life lesson you probably have to learn. The hardest life lesson you're going to have to learn is that for many people, your job is pointless, and doing the minimum not to get fired might be your best option. Now, you got to be careful where that minimum is, what the baseline of the work you do is, because sometimes people aim too low and then they do get fired. But if you realize, okay, maybe your job is doing a whole bunch of business administration, writing reports. Maybe your job is making some sales for the company, doing some marketing admin, doing some risk management and operations. Of course, you have a purpose for your job, otherwise they wouldn't hire you. You have to send some emails and do some Excel and PowerPoints and things like that. But in the grand scheme of things, your job is kind of pointless. Can you remember the work you did a year ago? Is it really impactful for the company? You probably did a small part of a larger project in a massive company, and they might not place high value on you, right? In the grand scheme of things. So really think that through, right? Don't get too caught up and too stressed out with every little thing, which I have done working at some of these major investment banks. Oh, we're making a correction for $1 million trade. It's super important. Yeah, it's important, but they don't care about your life really. They don't care about you personally that much. So don't care about the job more than they care about you. So it's worthwhile just considering that through, right? So really think about your job in the context of your life, which is 70 to 80 years, or the context of 100 years, or a company that's been going for centuries. You're one small cog in that machine. But in your life, you're a big fish in your life, right? You're a major factor in your life. You're the main character of your life. You're him in your life. So that's how you should really focus on, I would say overvaluing yourself, your health, your wealth, your life goals, and maybe undervaluing the company's goals, the company's targets, because they don't really care about you. If they see you as a small cog in a machine, you should see them as a small part of your life and focus on those savings, investments, minimalism, maximizing your time, maybe an early retirement, and not focus on the company too much. So there you have it. It's a bit of a funny meme, but it kind of proves the point there, right? Where if you are working hard, it doesn't pay off. What really pays off in the workplace environment is playing office politics, being a cool, calm character, doing some work to a good standard, but being more of a social guy and just kind of taking your time day by day and earning your salary and living your life at a decent pace. So I'd recommend you do be a Chad time thief rather than a naive hard worker. There are 2 recommended videos on your screen right now, free ebook in the description, link to speak to me in the description, and I'll see you next time.